So this is a very controversial one. Today, I'll be ranking the greatest midfielders from 2010s till now. And to be clear, I put up a 40-man shortlist of the players those who had like peaked in 2010s, all right, and those who played the latter of their career in 2010s as well, and of course coming into 2020s as well. So I made a 40 list nominee, and that was also very hard. It was very hard to single out players. So what I did was ruled out certain players. I ruled out young players who have been playing for a while, who have been playing for the last 4 or 5 years, but still it's very unfair and it's an injustice to judge them. For example, I didn't I didn't add the likes of Pedri. We know that he'll finish his career as one of the greats, and we know that he's better than so many players here. But the thing is that it's very early to judge him or other players that I'm not added into this list. So I'll just show you the list. So this is the 40-man short list. So I have all these players. I've added some players as honorable mentions as well. So this is the entire list, and as you can mostly see, these are all players who have who had peaked in 2010s, and you won't see as many 2020s players here. It can be said as the greatest midfielder list of our generation, of the generation that people of my age grew up with. So this is the entire thing. So these are the tiers. It's the first is the GOAT category. So these are only 5 players who are the greatest midfielders of the generation, what I feel, in my opinion, of what I have seen with my own eyes. And other one is elite, great, solid, and underrated. So let me first set the context straight, okay? Every single one of these players here are world class top players, every single one of them. So if I put someone in the lower rankings, it's just because that the other players were a little bit better than them or much better than them. But it doesn't rule out the fact that these players are still world class. The fact that they are in this list right now, they're in this 40-man short list, the fact that they are in here is because of how great they were. As simple as that. Even the person at 48th of the list is still a very great midfielder. So I have to get that out straight because I know how controversial these opinions can be. Before you tell me, you won't see the likes of Gerrard, Scholes and all. You won't see the likes of Frank Lampard as well, because they have played most of their careers in the 2000s rather than in the 2010s. I'll not waste the time. I'll just get into this and I'll explain you player by player why they're in the 40-man list and where they should rank in this tier list. So I guess let's start. So this is all in random order. So the first one, it's a very interesting one. It's Santi Cazorla. Straight off the bat, I'll put him in as an underrated pick. I guess Arsenal fan would know this. He was the ultimate two-footed player. He could pass with both of his feet. He could play as a central midfielder. He could play as a deep lying midfielder. He had it all in his arsenal, man. Literally all in his arsenal. And he was a really magical player to see, man. The reason why he's here in this short list is that he played, I guess, his peak during the 2010 to 2014-15 range, and I always liked him, bro. I always liked him. He was such a magical player. His set pieces, his intricate dribbling, his link up, oh my god. He's such a Arsene Wenger coded player. But it was so sad to see him out with injuries every time. He didn't have that many appearances for Arsenal as well. So it was really sad seeing him, and then he went again back to Villarreal, and then now he's still playing now. I was so happy for him, he's still playing now in Real Oviedo, and it's great to see. So he's my underrated pick, of course. But Santi Cazorla, those who have seen him with their eyes playing football, you would realize what kind of a player he was, man, in his time. What beautiful player he was. What beautiful. Next up, we have Andrea Pirlo. Straight off the bat, he's in my elite pick. and he's potentially the GOAT pick if I had to do an all-time player list. He played most of his career in the 2000s, winning the World Cup for Italy as well, winning the UCL 2007 with AC Milan, I guess. He is an elite only because of the fact that he had majority of his career played in the 2000s. But still, coming to Juventus in 2012, still he was such a class player, bro. He formed that midfield partnership with Vidal and Pogba. He's the type of player who doesn't run much, who doesn't cause chaos and stuff. He just is just give the ball to him and he'll dictate everything. He'll dictate the tempo. He'll do everything, man. He was such a class player, bro. He was such a class player. Even though he just played 5-6 years in this 2010s decade, still comes in this elite category. He still comes. He even guided Juventus to a UCL final, but unfortunately lost. But still, bro, in his age and what he has done for his all career, Andrea Pirlo 100% in elite category, 100%, no doubt about it. Next up, we have Xavi Alonso. So Xavi Alonso, I'll put him as an elite, and like I'll just make these changes after player. Okay, so he might not be in one category, but I'm just keeping them as a placeholder for now because it's really hard to rank these players, man. Who am I to rank the greatest midfielders in the world? Like, what am I doing here? But still, Xavi Alonso, fabulous player, similar type of with Pirlo, that he had played most of his time in the 2000s, but still he has given 8 years of elite football for Real Madrid and for Bayern Munich. We all thought that, he would somehow dip in Bayern Munich, but no, man, this guy remained elite. This guy remained world class. This guy remained elite in Bayern Munich as well. His midfield partnership with Khedira, Modric, and Mesut Ozil. Oh my god, bro! He was a part of the 2012 Jose Mourinho's Real Madrid team. So good in transition. His long balls, especially, bro. His long balls. It was such a pinpoint long ball. Again, similar to Pirlo, in that class, the player he himself oozes class, and he is a player who is a legend at Real Sociedad. He's a legend at Liverpool. He's a legend of Real Madrid. He's a legend of Bayern Munich as well. And he got an incredible farewell at the Allianz Arena in Bayern. So Xabi Alonso, elite player. That's enough for me to say about him. Next we have is Joshua Kimmich. Now this is a kind of player that goes under the radar, but he's so important for the Bayern Munich team, and he has been doing that for a while now, consistently doing it for Bayern Munich till now. And the way he can fill out multiple positions in the field, the way he leads the team, from being there as a young lad with Pep Guardiola, from to Hansi Flick to Julian Nagelsmann, and now with Vincent Kompany. He is Bayern. He's red through and through, bro. He's such a important player for Bayern Munich, and he always goes under the radar. As a right back, he's a very solid right back. So good defensively. Like, we often forget that. And in attack also, like, he's not that pacey, fast, but he's so good on the ball. And even as a defensive midfielder, oh my god, what a player. And believe me or not, if this guy could have won something for his country, he could have rivaled Philipp Lahm. I'm not even joking. This might be a very controversial opinion, but this can happen. And he still has more and more years. I guess he's approaching 30, 31 years of age. And if he wins something for his country, I think there's a possibility that he can rival Philipp Lahm. Both similar kind of players, both with that German mentality. And Kimmich, oh my god, like, he motivates everyone around him. So I'll be putting him in the elite spot, and I'll be putting him above Xabi Alonso just because he has a longer time in this generation. Next up, we have Daniel De Rossi. And to be honest, I've heard about Daniel De Rossi, okay? I've heard about him. I know that he has been in Roma through and through, but I've not seen him play consistently. I've just seen him against Real Madrid, against Barcelona, against the big teams in the UCL. But I've always heard of him. He's been in and about one of the top Serie A midfielders. And one thing I know about him is that he started his career in 2000s, I guess, and he had that 20-year stint at Roma. We often talk about Francesco Totti, right? Like how he played at Roma and he retired and he's a Roma legend, of course, right? But Daniel De Rossi is also a freaking Roma legend, bro. He has been there for 20 years at the club. Most of his peak years, it came before 2000s, but still an important part of Roma through and through. Yes, it was unlucky that he couldn't win so much with Roma, but still, bro, he still is a shout for Serie A's top midfielders, and he comes from that line of loyalty and pure passion for the game, bro. He was a physical, outbred midfielder. You could see the passion oozing of him. And I remember that penalty against Barcelona, that comeback 3-0 Manolas one. So I don't have much to say about him, and I'll put him in the great category for now. Okay, I don't know much about him, so I can't speak more about him. So yeah, next up we have Bastian Schweinsteiger, and he defines the term Bavarian midfielder. He's a template of how a Bayern Munich midfielder must be, and he was the kind of player I thought Leon Goretzka would have turned out. A physical beast of a midfielder. Along with that, he was good on the ball as well. He could play as a number 8 or number 6. It was so crucial for Bayern Munich all these years, and we won't forget how crucial he was in the World Cup for Germany. And one of the legends of the game and one of the legends of the Bayern Munich and Germany. Bastian Schweinsteiger, for me, he comes out in elite, but I can see him in great spot as well. So we'll just shuffle around the rankings afterwards. Next up, we have one of my favorite players, bro. One of my favorite. It's hard not to be biased, but there's so many great players. But hey, he shines so much, bro. His name is Mesut Ozil. I'll put him in the great spot. Okay, but with Ozil is that you can define him with consistency, but you can define him with some moments of brilliance, bro. This guy has big eyes and a wonderful vision. He could see passes no normal human can ever see, and he executed that so perfectly. If I had to make an attacking midfielder, Ozil would be the template. I would like my attacking midfielder to be good on the ball, to be a good carrier and a dribbler of the ball. I would like my attacking midfielder to have those very intricate link up. I would like my attacking midfielder to be so good in transitions. Like most of his assists in Real Madrid, it all came from transition. He played in that peak Mourinho era, and he was so good in transition. Both the way he kept the ball, he linked up with Cristiano, he linked up with Higuain, he linked up with Benzema, he linked up with Di Maria. I was so sad when Ozil left, okay, but I was happy for him that he was going to Arsenal, because I thought at that time as well that he would do really good at Arsenal, and he was doing it. That first year with Arsenal, he was magical. Any Arsenal fan would say that, right? But he got into politics, and some way the love for the game, it came out of him, and he was not the same player anymore. It was really sad for him to go out like this. But having said all that, he's still a World Cup winner. He still has showed us such moments of brilliance and such moments of magic, such moments of wows and ahs and oohs. One of the most technical players in this list, and 100% one of the great players of the modern era. And what could have been one of the greatest attacking midfielders in the history of football. What could have been. So sad that it turned out that way. Next up, we have Juan Mata. So straight off the bat, I'll put him as a solid pick. He was very good for Chelsea, and even for Manchester United, he filled out so many roles. He was such a good, attacking threat as well. His crosses, his passing range and stuff, it was really good. And he was very solid for United. It was so sad, but that he came into struggling United team. If he had played for any other team, he would have been regarded as a great player. It was so sad that he was in that United team, but still nothing to take away what a incredible player Juan Mata was. So I'll put him in solid for now. Let's see if he goes into underrated or not, but because he's an underrated player. Next up we have Andres Iniesta. So I guess this is the first pick of the GOAT category. So do I have to even say anything about this guy? But I'll say it anyways, of course. I'll tell you now, he's the GOAT midfielder for me. Straight off the bat, he's the GOAT midfielder for me, bro. Oh my god. Andres Iniesta, even being a Madrid fan, I respect this guy so much, bro. I respect him so much. What he has done for his club, what he has done for his country. It's incredible to see, bro. It's incredible to see. In the midfield of Xavi, Busquets, and Iniesta, Xavi was the tempo, Busquets was the link and the rock, okay? But Iniesta was the magician, magic, wizardry. He was that. No other midfielder right now comes even close to what Iniesta did in his prime. This guy showed us how football should be played, and due to what he could do on the pitch, he could play as a left. He played as a left midfielder for Spain. He could play as a number 8. He could play as a number 6. Such a press-resistant player. You could not press him, and the way he was so flawless in everything, the way he picked out those passes with perfect weight to Messi and Pedro, and doing it in different generations as well. Okay, playing for FC Barcelona, I guess from 2005-6, winning a treble, and then winning another treble with Barcelona, and then playing with Luis Suarez and Neymar and doing the same magic consistently season by season. Oh my god, bro, I can't glaze him more than this. Andres Iniesta is one of, if not the greatest midfielders in the history. And you can go watch his highlights and stuff, and you'll be mesmerized, of course. All right, you'll be mesmerized by the amount of clutch goals he has had. He has a goal in the World Cup final, bro. He has a goal in the World Cup final. Yeah, his incredible goal with Chelsea, we won't forget that as well. He's just like a visionary artist who painted on the pitch, who glided on the pitch. He knew what he was doing 3 steps before. Such an intelligent footballer. You can classify him as a playmaker. You can classify him as a dribbler. You could classify him as a box-to-box player. You could classify him as anything, bro. Andres Iniesta has pleased us with his eyes, and it was sad that he had to leave Europe so early. I 100% knew he could play more, but me being a rival, I'm saying this about him. It shows that how much of an impact Andres Iniesta has had in the history of football. So Andres Iniesta for me, GOAT category 100%. So next up we have, oh my god, this is gonna be crazy, man. We have 2 to 3 players who are potentially in the GOAT category, and next up we have Sergio Busquets. I'll put him in the GOAT category. I'll put Sergio Busquets in the GOAT category, bro. Just imagine his longevity. He played in an incredible level till 2023. Just look at his longevity, bro. And in between of that, he won the World Cup and the Euros, winning 2 trebles, and again that partnership with Iniesta, Xavi. How would I not put him in the GOAT category? If you had to rank me the best defensive midfielders of all time, the best number 6s of all time, Sergio Busquets' name would be in top 2. There's 100% a reason why he's in the GOAT category. No one can come to me and say that why he's in the GOAT category. For me, he's one of the greatest central defensive midfielders of all time. As a rival fan, I always say this, bro. I always have to say this about my rival player, but what can I do? But Sergio Busquets, brother. Sergio Busquets. Even see, we all know in his prime, like he was untouchable. You could not press Sergio Busquets. You simply could not. And he played football with his mind. He was not the most physical. He was not the most agile. But still, he found his way into the pitch. He found some incredible passes, and he was soul of that Barcelona team. He was the one which made everything tick. Doing that, not moving much and dictating the game. One of the best midfielders you can have when you are playing a position-based style. No, Lamas your product through and through. Even in his later time with Barcelona in 2021, 2023, he was still a crucial player for them. Still a crucial player for them. And for a player like Sergio Busquets, you would think that he was not as good defensively, right? But the way he read the game, bro, just go and look at his highlights and stuff. The way he read the game, man, the number of shots he blocked, the number of interceptions he had, his defensive side of the game is also very underrated, very underrated. So that's why he's also in the GOAT category for me, bro. 100%, 100%. So, and next up, we have Tony Kroos. Oh my god, bro, this is hard. This is very hard. I put him in the GOAT category. I'll put Tony Kroos as a good category, and I have my reasons why, okay? I have my reasons why. If you had to define consistency, if you had to define a player from his start of the career till he retired just 2 years ago, if you had to name a player who was consistent through and throughout, Tony Kroos is one of the first players on that list. There's a saying with Tony Kroos that Tony Kroos doesn't have a prime. His whole career was a prime. That statement holds so much fact and truth in it. Tony Kroos, when he first started out with Bayern Munich and with Germany as well, he played as an attacking midfielder. He was always up front, and in that way he scored so many goals in his first season. Then he adapted as a number 8/6, and he was incredible. He found his home as a hybrid of number 8 and number 6. He found his home there. Before I say what Tony Kroos means to me and what Tony Kroos has done and how he plays football, before I comment on that, first I'll just let him know what he has done. Okay, he won the treble with Bayern, came to Real Madrid in a very low transfer fee, lit up the Bernabeu in his first season, scored a debut goal as well. Beautiful trademark Toni Kroos passed the ball into the net finish. He came to Real Madrid. He won 3 Champions League on the rod, being a crucial player of that legendary midfield of Casemiro, Kroos and Modric. He led Real Madrid to 3 UCLs, stayed in the club, always consistent, always being one of the most important players in any system we play. Wins the Champions League again, being one of the most crucial players with younger players around him. Won the Champions League again, being again a pivotal part of the team. And then 2 years later, announces retirement and then wins the UCL again in his final year with the club. A winner of 6 UCL titles. Just take a look at Real Madrid last season, bro. We missed Toni Kroos. We missed a player of that profile. Real Madrid fans are so lucky to have seen Toni Kroos play that we don't appreciate that a midfielder who just takes 1 to 2 seconds to ping the ball across the field, pinpoint and in the right weight, a long ball into Dani Carvajal. We have been seeing this for years and years now, okay? But let me remind you, those kind of passes are one of the hardest passes to make in football. Yeah, and even look at his numbers. The passes into the final third, he ranks so high in the passes in the final third. That doesn't come from passing sideways. Just remember, even in Zinedine Zidane's system, our entire game of play focused on Toni Kroos. How? I'll explain to you. We overloaded the left hand side with so many players, and then Toni Kroos picked up the ball, took 1 to 2 seconds to ping the ball to Carvajal, and he had acres and acres of space to run, acres and acres of space to cross, acres and acres of space to pass the ball into an attacker and then create. That was the entire system. Even Carlo Ancelotti used Toni Kroos in that way. Just imagine a very definitive and important cog of this team. Bear in mind, he has won the World Cup as well for Germany and being an important player and scoring important goals in the World Cup as well. So, of course, he has to be in the GOAT category 100%. See, let me remind you again, if we have to take the entire career, everything, I would put Pirlo above Toni Kroos, and that's me being my unbiased self. But we are taking 2010 still now, so that's the reason why I Pirlo is down. Okay, so just for context, I'm making this straight up. Next up, so it's back to back to back to back goats. Next up, we have Luka freaking Modric. I'll put Luka Modric behind Iniesta respectfully, but just let me talk about this player, okay? He came to Real Madrid in 2012 from Spurs, and he was voted as the worst signing of that year. And then the turnaround he did in his career. I remember that match against Manchester United in 2013, where wore that dark green kit, and Luka Modric scored that worldy. And even Rio Ferdinand was speaking about that goal, that special goal, right? The way he turned around his reputation, the way he, blended into being one of the most decorated players in Real Madrid history. This is a very important nod to his mentality as a football player as well. We often talk about mentality of other players, right? But he he still hasn't given up at the age of 40, bro. He still plays so passionately. He still celebrates a Serie A win in this age as well. Luka Modric, how can you hate this guy, bro? How can you hate this guy? He can play as a number 10. He can play as an attacking midfielder. He can play as a number 8. He can play as a number 6. Tell him to have intensity off the ball, and he does have. Tell him to be good on the ball and dribble his way across, and he does that. Tell him to be press resistant, and he does that. Tell him to be on the edge of the box and score a long shot, and he does that. What can this guy do? He does everything on the pitch, bro. He does everything on the and one of the most versatile and one of the most complete midfielders of all time. My God, Luka Modric. Like every single season, I ran out of words to say to this guy what he has done for Real Madrid. His incredible moments, his UCL final performances. As a Madrid fan, I have seen all those matches live, okay, and in every single match, Luka Modric was very crucial in all the UCL finals that were played along the way, and his performances when he was 37, 38 years of age against PSG, that triple assist against Chelsea. Wow, bro, wow. Talking about Luka Modric really took me into that time. It really took me into that time when he played his final game with Real Madrid. It was against, I guess, Real Sociedad, and he was given the card of honor in the Santiago Bernabeu, and he was really emotional, bro. Like, I'm being emotional right now talking about him right now. He could have stayed for one more year. He could have stayed this year. He would have an important role in this team still. And the one thing about Luka Modric is that he had told earlier that if he played more and more, then he would, of course, be playing better. And I stand by it 100%. If he plays week in week out still, and he's doing it right now, and he's dropping 7 and 8 out of 10 performances every single game. I'm being very emotional right now because I didn't want him to leave the club. Like, I know that he was approaching 40 and still, but he still could have played for us. And one more season, I just wanted him to retire at Real Madrid. And his farewell days, it was very emotional, bro. Like, I'm going off the topic right now, but this is just me expressing like my feelings about Luka Modric again. So, a great veteran of the sport, a class player, such a class outfit on and off the field, never caused any drama, never caused any fights in the dressing room, was always there to represent the badge. Even though his last 2 seasons he had reduced rules in the club, still he put on the jersey, put on that boot, he put on those shin pads, and he came onto the pitch and delivered everything, bro. Everything. Luka Modric is certainly a legend of Real Madrid, and you are a legend of this sport overall, and you are in our hearts always. You will never leave Real Madrid hearts. Your voice will echo in the Santiago Bernabeu for generations and generations to come. You are one of the most decorated players in Real Madrid history, and above all that, you have a very special place in my heart. And even with Croatia, man, he was such an important player, taking them into the World Cup final, and he has a Ballon d'Or win as well. So the player has won a Ballon d'Or, but it's the last thing I'm mentioning about him in a 10-minute segment. So it tells you what the player was more than what he achieved. What he achieved was also very great. So all in all, man, salute to the legend of the sport. Of course, a GOAT midfielder for me, 100%. So we had that awesome GOAT run. Next up, we have Fernandinho. So Fernandinho, I'll put him as an underrated pick. He was a solid physical type of defensive midfielder in his early years, and he won the league before Pep Guardiola came. And Pep Guardiola transformed him into a ball-playing centered CDM. And Rodri was an understudy under him. Rodri didn't have a good first season with Manchester City, and with Fernandinho, it was easier for Rodri to transition into the player that he's now. And Fernandinho, always a good servant of this, of Manchester City, and he has been very underrated. I would say he was very underrated. When we name center defensive midfielders, we don't bring Fernandinho's name more, but the fact is we should have. Again, a very solid player, underrated, and he can go up also. We'll see how the list goes. Next up, we have Ilkay Gundogan. He's a great player, bro. In terms of achievements, he he comes above Mr. Ozil for me. Coming from Borussia Dortmund, he won the league there with Jurgen Klopp, and coming to Man City, struggled a few seasons. I guess he was injured at the start as well, and then became an important fragment of that team. And I remember that one season where De Bruyne was injured, and he was the main player for this, and he was scoring goals for fun, and they won the league that way only. Such an important player for City, such a tactical cheat code for Pep Guardiola's system, bro. Of course, his brilliant moments, that goal against Manchester United in FA Cup final where they won the treble in 16 seconds, and that comeback against Aston Villa. I remember Gundogan scored that winner goal. All in all, bro, a treble winner with City. He was very good in Barcelona as well. So a class player. Didn't win the World Cup with Germany, but he could have very well been in the squad. A kind of player who did everything with his mind. You won't see him as the quickest or the most physical of the thing midfielders, but this guy was so good on the ball, and his finishing and stuff also, man. Next up, we have Arturo Vidal. So Vidal, I would put him as a solid pick above Juan Mata. Everywhere he went, he was very great, and everywhere he went, he brought that South American spirit with him. He was that crude type of player, always going in for tackles, always being aggressive, always being at the edge of the line, always going into that slide tackle, always going into the duels and stuff. He was always that physical, intensive kind of player. He had that good stint in UA. He had that good partnership with Pogba and Pirlo, and then he had a good stint at Bayern Munich as well, and again coming to Barcelona also. He could have won the treble with Barcelona also in 2019, and just imagine, like, he was very important in that Barcelona 2019 system. He was very important in that team. So solid pick. Now next up we have Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva, I've always, admired Bernardo Silva. He comes as a solid pick for me. I've always admired Bernardo Silva. He's a type of player who is manager's dream. You can play him in the right hand side, and he plays there good. You can play him as a number six, and yes, he does that. You can put him as the press trigger and just leave him to with to press and stuff here, and he does that. He does everything, and he's a very good dribbler as well, and he was a very important part of City all through these years, and still he plays but not at that level. And in the early 2020s he was very good for City. He played in this multiple position. You could deploy him anywhere and he would have a solid game. So Bernardo Silva, all in all, a solid player. And the fact that he scored so many goals against Real Madrid, every time this guy finds the net with us, bro, somehow he does a banger finish, or somehow he does scores a free kick somehow. So this guy always on the nose, and a player who showed that physicality is not everything. You can I remember that dribble against Liverpool. Oh my god, brother. That whole sequence coming from the center, uh, spinning around the Liverpool players, and then coming up, keeping the balls in that position as well, and releasing a good pass to Phil Foden. Oh my god, man. And he had that knack of being going into opposition's head also. So that was one thing about him. Next up, we have Cesc Fabregas. Okay, Cesc Fabregas, I'll put him as a great player. He was a great teenager coming up, and of course he played in 2000s as well, 2000 as well, and he could have been gone high if we are doing all-time lists. But Cesc Fabregas, even that Chelsea run, bro, he was such a crucial player. And what I think is that he could have played, started for other high-level teams, but rather he's decided to join Barcelona. What I thought was that he could have joined other teams and then became a regular starter for them instead of you know being in Barcelona, but still won the World Cup with Spain, assisting Iniesta in the final, won the Euros. He was such a beautiful man, magic player. Again, a player whom you can't put out the stats, you can do anything, but the way you look with his eyes, he had that incredible vision in him, bro. You could find you long passes breaking through channels. You could find everything. Cesc Fabregas, a magical player, and is in the great of my list. Next up, we have Casemiro. So Casemiro, he comes into the rear end of the great spectrum. Casemiro, again, the part of the holy trio of Casemiro, Kroos, and Modric. Being part of midfield Kroos and Modric, he was the one who binded them all together. He could do things both Kroos and Modric could not do. You couldn't ask for a more perfect player than Casemiro to play alongside Kroos and Modric. Yes, he has his frailties with the ball. He's not good with the ball. But apart from that, off the ball, the way he blocked the passes in transition, Casemiro was our only hope. Casemiro defended so well. He was such a reliable CDM every single match, bro. And the way he went into those tackles, very aggressive player, very, 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 very aggressive player. God, he was not scared to go into those tackles, bro. He was not scared at all. And the way with consistency he did that, he was so good at what he does, being that physical outlet to complement the likes of Modric and Kroos perfectly, being the guy in the aerial duels, being the guy in the transition, being the guy to face the attackers, being the guy to stop counter attacks. He was the guy, bro. He was the guy. And I put him as a great player, important part of us winning the three-peat, an important part of this Real Madrid entire decade. Next up, we have Christian Eriksen, and I'll put him as an underrated pick. Christian Eriksen, forget about his Inter Milan days, forget about those days, forget about his United days, forget about one season with Brentford, forget about all that. Christian Eriksen for Spurs. Oh my god, bro. I loved him so much at Spurs, man. Christian Eriksen completely changed his career from an attacking midfielder, from a well-rounded attacking midfielder to a deep-lying player, man. Like, first of all, I didn't understand his move to Inter Milan. I don't know the specifics in this, but I still don't understand his move to Inter Milan. Why did he go? And even going there, he was not consistent there. But you look at what he has done in Tottenham. I loved him so much, along with Dele Alli, along with Harry Kane. He was so important for them, bro. He was such an important player. Every time he had the ball, he could, he was always looking to create. He was always looking to find crosses. And even in his United days, when everyone thought he was finished, he's still doing his thing. He was still doing his job for United. He was still doing his job. He was playing as a deep lying midfielder. He was the only player in the team who could, play that number 6 role. And of course, he's an underrated player for me. And he's also in the conversation for being, what could have been a good player. Okay, so he had a very high ceiling for what he became at the end. That's all I would say. Next up, we have Claudio Marquezio. So very vaguely, I would put him in a solid pick. I had to put him in because of his career longevity and stuff in this list, but he played most of his career as in 2000s. So, and I don't know much about him, but what I know is that he was a good number 8. He was good on the ball, and he started his career as an attacking midfielder. He had a good eye for a goal as well, and he was in that UVA team for years and years. So he was a very important part of that team. I can't elaborate on him more. That's all I know about him. Next up, we have David Silva. David Silva, of course, he goes into the elite category. There are only few players you can consider them as magicians. You can consider them as magicians and wizards on the ball. And David Silva was that kind of player who built the game around him. He was the guy who springed passes from the deep, received passes in the number 8 position, and then released the final pass for attackers to score. For many years, bro, before Kevin De Bruyne, before Gundogan, before Bernardo Silva, he was the guy who ran the Man City midfield. Oh my god, what a magician. And even for Spain, even though Spain had Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets, he still played for Spain. He still played as a left midfielder or a right midfielder, I don't know, but he still played for Spain, bro. That only shows to us what kind of a player he was. One of my favorite players growing up, brother. One of my favorite players growing up in that humble Man City team. He was not the face of Man City, but he was the one who made Man City tick before all the revolution, before Pep Guardiola. Okay, and even after Pep Guardiola came, he was an important fragment of that team. His connection with Sterling and Sane, his connection with Aguero, of course. Wow, bro, wow. Man City was so lucky to have David Silva playing for them week in, week out. A legend of the game and a legend of Man City, and a very underrated one as well. But he comes into my elite category. He could have won more, but that's the thing, bro. Football is sometimes cruel, but again, wizard, magician. Next up, we have Blaise Matuidi. This is a World Cup winner right here, and he'll go into my solid pick. Again, continuing the theme of this solid picks, I guess I have done very bad to Marquezio here, but I'll just put him above all here because I'm so sorry, but I have not seen this guy play much. Okay, I've seen Blaise Matuidi play, by the way, and in PSG he was again solid, again being that aggressor, again being that physical stability in the midfield for PSG. And then he came to Juventus. He played with Ronaldo. That's why I know so much about him. And he won the World Cup also in with France. And even in that World Cup, with Pogba and Kante, that midfield partnership was very underrated, very under the radar, I would say. And Blaise Matuidi was one of the important players of the French national team as well. Again, a solid player, good on the ball as well. He could carry the ball well as well. And I'll remember his performance against Real Madrid in 2018. when they led that comeback uh, with us, and he was one of the most important players there, and he scored a goal as well, I guess. So that's all I know about him. Next up, we have Ivan Rakitic. Ivan Rakitic, if we had to describe the word underrated, he's the one. He's so underrated, brother. He's so underrated. Even by Barcelona fans, he's so underrated. And he comes into a category of great for me. When Xavi left in 2015, they signed Ivan Rakitic from Sevilla, right? And straight up after Xavi left, he blended into that midfield partnership so well with Iniesta and Busquets. You couldn't see the absence of Xavi in Barcelona squad. And that's the biggest compliment I can give Ivan Rakitic. Blended so perfectly, and even for Croatia. Yes, Luka Modric, a captain, a leader, and a legend of Croatia. But Ivan Rakitic, as good as Modric for Croatian squad, and as important as Modric was in this Croatian side. In that 2018 World Cup run, you can say, and again in 2022 as well, even Rakitic was so important for Croatia. And again, always flying under the radar every time. What an incredible player he was, man. What an incredible player. So, of course, I have put him as a great player. Okay, next up, we have Kevin De Bruyne. And straight up, see, for 90% people, he comes in the GOAT category. But I just can't put any one of these down. And we have one more player as well who will be coming. He goes into the elite category, and he's first. And he's so close to coming into this GOAT category, okay? He's so close, very close. Thin line, very thin line. He comes into a modern great category, bro. You can't argue. You can't argue against that. Being a Chelsea reject, having the mentality to come back, and we often forget how important he was in Wolfsburg. That Wolfsburg team with Edin Dzeko, Kevin De Bruyne. What a team that was, bro! And he was so crucial there also. And look at his stats in Wolfsburg team as well. And from Wolfsburg, what a signing by Man City to bring him up early. Brought him into 2015, 2016, I guess, in that season. 2016, I guess. And then straight up important player for Man City all around these years. He defined the Pep Guardiola era. He defined the Pep Guardiola era. He was the face of the Pep Guardiola era, and then left with a treble and won numerous amounts of Premier League titles, dominating the midfield position for years and years. The kind of passes he makes, the kind of attacking passes he makes, I've seen very less players do it at such a frequent basis. Yes, I've seen very less players, man. How some passes you look at those passes and you wonder to yourself, how did he do that? And to bring up this incredible moments, to bring up this incredible passes so consistently throughout, such a high level, bro, such a high level thing. And Kevin De Bruyne did it with ease and consistency all throughout his career at Man City, brother. What an incredible player. What an incredible player. And we often, yes, his passing was incredible. His shooting from long range, incredible. Set pieces, incredible. He even scored so many free kicks. And then the one of the most underrated part about him, the intensity he had off the ball. The way he pressed, it was so hard to knock him off the ball when he carried the ball. He was such a good ball carrier as well. This is again a very hot take from me, but Kevin De Bruyne, for me, is the greatest Premier League midfielder of all time. You can name me no midfielder who has done what Kevin De Bruyne did in his prime in that consistent level. You can't show me anyone. You can give me Steven Gerrard for his intensity and long shots. Kevin De Bruyne was there. You can give me Frank Lampard for his knack of scoring goals. Yes, and he was there. And you can give me names like Paul Scholes and stuff. Kevin De Bruyne comes so high in so many categories that you can't discount him. And even though if he's not your greatest Premier League midfielder of all time, he comes in second, man. He comes in second of every list. That's 100% true. So yeah, Kevin De Bruyne, elite. But this is a very shame that he's in elite. He should be up there. He's a GOAT of 2010s. Like he should be, from 2010s to now, he should be in higher ranking. But it's a shame that we have legends on here. Next up, we have Marco Verratti, and he comes in the great segment. And see, whenever I'm ranking these players, I'm ranking them by their achievements as well. So for me, achievements is very important. What you win with your team is as important as what you are when you are talking about your overall career. And one fun fact about Marco Verratti is that he hasn't played in Italy. He's an Italian player, but he hasn't played in Italy. It's just a funny thing, right? But being in that PSG team for years and years, one player I would have loved to have won the UCL with PSG was Marco Verratti, bro. He was there for so many years, running the midfield literally. But for the way he got past challenges, the way he got past tackles, such a good dribbler. It's like ball didn't leave his feet, man. And on top it of his passing range, delicious passing range. I'm running out of words, by the way, for these midfielders. Delicious, delicious. What an underrated pick, Marco Verratti. Marco Verratti ran so that Vitinha could walk. You get the gist, right? If anyone has to dedicate this PG treble to one guy, it should have been Marco Verratti. So yeah, that's it. Next up, we have Rodri. He's one of the players I've added because of his Ballon d'Or win. Even though he's approaching his 30s, he still has played over 4 to 5 years in prime, and it's still too early to judge him, I guess. But still, due to his Ballon d'Or win, I'm putting him here, and I put him in a solid spot. That treble winning season and the season after that, those 2 seasons, oh my god, we saw one of the most greatest defensive midfielder plays in history. He was good on the ball, his passing range is phenomenal, and the way he ran the midfield, we knew how Man City suffered after he left, right? But the only reason I put him at solid is that he hasn't finished his career as of yet. It'll be an injustice to judge him right now only, so I'm putting him solid. And since he's a Ballon d'Or winner, he's in this list as well. Next up, we have Sami Khedira. Again, an underrated player. So good on the ball. Such a great physical asset to have in the midfield as well. His passing was really good, and in the transitional style of play. And he was so good with, short passes, receiving the pass with his body angle towards the goal, again spreading it along that way, and then again in transition, a very good tackler of the ball as well. Such a solid player, like it defines the word solid. So Khedira, yeah. Next up, we have Nemanja Matic. I've seen him in his Chelsea days, okay, Nemanja Matic, but more than that, I've seen him in his United days. He was really good in that United squad as well, and is again that kind of a player who's not the great physically. He's very slow on the run, but the way he controlled matches, one of the reasons why Mourinho always trusted in him. He was like, Mourinho's go-to CDM. Mourinho's one of the perfect center mids template. He was that guy. He was that guy for him. When you have all these runners on the ball, when facing counterattacks and stuff, when you have these kind of players, you need a player who is physical and tall in his own way, but he knows how to keep the ball and keep the play running as well. Nemanja Matic was a mixture of both. He could have gone on to go to greater things at other clubs, but still, no joke about what he achieved and what kind of a player he was for United and Chelsea. And later on in the Roma as well, he was really good in that stint. Underrated pick, I would say. Next up, we have N'Golo Kante. N'Golo Kante, he's in my elite pick. An elite CDM. He is part of one of the greatest teams in Premier League history. Not greatest by the level that they achieved, but greatest by the unlikeliness of the thing that they achieved. He was the part of that Leicester title winning season. And going into the next season, he was again a crucial part of that Chelsea title winning season. Back to back. I'll tell you what Kante was good at, okay? With Kante, you could see he had a great amount of intensity to his game, but above all that, his reading of this game was impeccable. You can see other defensive midfielders and other great tacklers of the ball. They often expose themselves with field tackle. They often expose themselves with field slides and stuff. Kante didn't have to do that. His reading of the game was so brilliant that he could perform a simple standing tackle and still win the ball so effectively. And that's what I liked about him always, bro. Every time you see when Kante wins the ball, he keeps the ball with himself and he carries the ball. Have you guys noticed that? Look at his highlights, look at his, everything. You could see that the ball doesn't ricochet into the opponent's player, the ball doesn't ricochet into your own player, it just falls into his feet. And that is a credit to a kind of player that Kante is. He is that kind of a player, man. Such a great anticipator of threat. And the fact that he always went into the tackles whenever there was a loose touch, whenever there was sense of lose opponent player losing the ball. Such a great reader of the game, such a great tackler, such a great reader of the game. N'Golo Kante, oh my god. And of course a World Cup winner. And that UCL 2021 run with Chelsea, that was Kante's one of the greatest forms, I would say. So good, bro. So good. Kante was so good in that UCL run. In that transition heavy side with attackers like Mount and Pulisic, Kante was really running that midfield. Kante was really carrying that system. Even in the Euros before, he was really good for France. And I can see him playing in the World Cup as well. It's very difficult, but let's see. But I would love to see him again. And again off the field, one of the most humble, one of the most happy, always smiling type of guy. And the way he thanks is incredible. So next up we have Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba, such a polarizing figure, man. Like if I put him in great, I would not do justice to other players. I put him in this solid category. Okay, I put him in this solid category above many players. Paul Pogba is the biggest what if player. He had the world on his feet. Paul Pogba is one of the greatest what Paul Pogba is one of the greatest examples of a what if player in the history. Oh my god. This player, like we saw what he can be, okay, when he was in this Juventus days, was one of the most complete midfielders out there. Physicality, you name it. Keeping the ball, you name it. Dribbling, you name it. Passing. Passing, what kind of pass do we need? Do we need a crossfield pass from yards out? Or do we need that final incredible curled ball into the box? Or do you need a banger from outside the box? He had everything, bro. He was a tall, physical monster, so good on the ball. He sometimes displayed some moments of magic as well. He used his body so well, man. Paul Pogba was deemed to be a superstar, and as a Real Madrid fan, he is the Galactico who never played for Real Madrid. He defines Real Madrid, bro. He defines Real Madrid, and he could have come to Real Madrid from Juve, but you know things turned out differently. And even from Manchester United, yes, he has his own criticisms. He had his own, off the field issues, ego issues and stuff. And in his later days, like he fell out of football, drug doping and stuff. But prime Paul Pogba will be one of the greatest midfielders this generation has ever seen, bro. He could do anything. Prime Pogba was such a magical footballer. Even though his United days didn't go that well, I would still rate him highly there as well. Whenever he played on the pitch, he performed. And apart from his off-field nonsense and stuff, if you have to rate him only as a player, he's an incredible footballer who could do anything in midfield. He could have gone on to do so many things, bro. So many things. Now, Next up, Bruno Fernandes. He's that kind of a footballer. Like, in 2020s, he has had more impact rather than in that 2010s. So of course he'll be into my lower echelons of the underrated pick. One of the most underrated players still. And Bruno Fernandes, I classify him as an attacking midfielder, but he has played his role as a left midfielder. He has played his role as a number six, as a number eight. Everything he can do, he can do simply everything. But his best position is an attacking midfielder for Manchester United, and he took over the Premier League when he came. My God, his biggest moment was that he was being compared to De Bruyne at some point. So I guess that's more than enough to say what kind of a player he was, and he is still now. And what I like most about him is the way he plays with his heart out. He's so passionate. Again, people will say about his crybaby stuff and stuff, but he does that to win. I like that mentality about Bruno Fernandes. I like the mentality about any player. So I put him here just as an honorable mention. Okay, he's an underrated pick. Okay, I was trying to make this short, but see the list of players that are coming, man. Like, how can I speak so less about them? Next up, we have Isco Alarcon. Oh my god, I was in love with this player, and I was always an advocate of Isco being not treated right by Real Madrid. Yes, it was wrong place at the wrong time. A player like Isco would have thrived in today's Real Madrid. Just imagine the things he gave to us. Just imagine what kind of a cheat code he was. It'll be a very shame to put him in the great category. I'll put him in as a solid category. I guess I've exceeded the number of players in the solid category. Isco 100%, he has to come in the solid category. This man has won 2 UCL titles. Yes, his consistency was short. Yes, his prime was very short, but bro, again, that magician on the pitch, man. That incredible magician. He came into Real Madrid in 2014 from Malaga, being the golden boy. He came there with high expectations, and it took time for him to gain the trust. And even when he was playing at his peak, he was still disrespected by the manager. He was still a second team player for Zinedine Zidane, and that's one criticism I have for Zinedine Zidane. Like, considering how great Isco was, Zinedine Zidane still did not trust him. He had to trust him eventually because he was so good in the UCL finals. Again, I remember that quote from Chiellini. He said that we all know what Cristiano Ronaldo can do. We all know what Karim Benzema would do. But in that Real Madrid super team, that 16-17 team, which went to the UCL finals, where they defeated Juventus 4-1, the main cheat code of the system was Isco Alarcon. He was the cheat code to the system. He started from the right, he drifted into a number 10 role, receiving passes, spreading in, playing that final ball, carrying the ball forward. Him in his prime is better than Musiala, he's better than Florian Wirtz. He's better than these players. Yes, he is in his prime. If he were came into football in this generation, he would be one of the best number 10s right now. But it was him being in the wrong place at the wrong time and in the wrong era. I would say he was in the wrong era. He came into a time when people were switching into a 4-3-3 kind of system where you needed all-round midfielders rather than some specialists. Was again changing. Number 10s are coming back, and just imagine this Real Madrid team with Isco, prime Isco. I can see Mbappe. I can see Vinicius and Mbappe thriving with Isco. Again, Isco, like, he could have been such a great player, man. Like, yeah. So next up we have Koke, one of the key cogs of Atletico Madrid for years and years and years. He's been so consistent throughout, and he's one of the underrated picks, and he tops the underrated list for me. He tops the underrated list 100%, 100%. Next up, we have Javier Mascherano, man. Oh my god. I'll put him as a solid pick, and I have my reasons for this, okay? I put him in the solid list not because that he doesn't fall into the great category, but he has played majority of his role as a center back as well. Most of his 2010s were as a center back rather than a midfielder. So for that reason, Mascherano is in my solid pick. 100% incredible player, class player, a player who could fill out multiple roles in midfield. Such a great player defensively and good on the ball as well. Next up, we have Fabinho. Oh my God, this is getting a bit tougher, I would say now. I'll put Fabinho in the solid category. Yes, I'll put Fabinho in the solid category here. Those 4 5 years at Liverpool, he was so important for them. And his prime, oh my God, in his prime, he was so good. He was being compared to Kante and Casemiro at that time. The entire Liverpool foundation was built on high flying fullbacks and great attacking system. But you often forget what kind of different roles Fabinho filled. Yes, he was that ball progressor in the midfield and stuff, right? And the one guy who was really good when attacking in counter attacks as well, right? He was the one who started the move and stuff for Liverpool. Apart from all that, the defensive solidity that he gave, the way he filled out for Trent when defending, the way he filled out for Robertson while defending, Fabinho was that guy. And more than on the ball, such a good off the ball presence, such a good anticipator of threat, such a solid defensive midfielder, man. 100% he comes to the solid category. And next up, we have Thiago Alcantara. This is very hard to rank these players, bro. This is very hard to rank. You know what? I'll just put Rodri above in the grade. I'll just put Rodri above in the grade, and I'll put Thiago in solid right here. Again, Thiago, yes, we saw what he could do, but in his later career, injuries and all hampered him. He was always down with injury, I don't know. But whenever he played, you know how I described Iniesta early in this video? Thiago was a fragment of Iniesta. Thiago dribbled so much like Iniesta. He carried the ball like Iniesta. And the way he got out of press, it reminded me of Iniesta. But the thing is that he couldn't do it consistently. And it's because of his injuries as well. His injury record was very bad. And for teams like Bayern and Liverpool, he was such an important player for them, man. He was such an important player. Yes, he had a good career, but again he comes into that category of what he could have been versus what he became at the end. So Thiago again comes in that category. I guess I have to make some changes. Around this list. I'll put Cesc Fabregas above, and to compensate for that, I have to put Thiago up, and I'll put Claudio Marquez above, and I'll put Henderson in as an underrated captain on the field. Very vocal on the field. He was the Liverpool true and true player, and again, solid player. He has his own flaws and stuff, but 100% a solid player for Liverpool. And again, he played with passion and pride, and that's why I love that about a player, man. I love that about a player. So Henderson, underrated, 100%. Now I put Musa Dembele as a streets won't forget player. Okay, so of course he'll come at the end of the underrated, at the end of the list, because I put him here for only 2 seasons of peak football. But in that time, bro, the ones who have seen Musa Dembele play, it was like Zidane-esque. Yes, Zidane-esque. And I remember that Mauricio Pochettino compared him with Messi, that he's the Messi of his position. I don't know how bigger of a compliment he could have received more than that, bro. And those who know, they know about Musa Dembele, and they know what kind of a great player he was. So, he comes into my as a streets won't forget type of player. So I again have to make some changes around here. So I had to make some changes in the tier, so it was not, the numbers were not numbering. And next up we have Xavi Hernandez. And see, again, that argument comes about Xavi Hernandez. Of course, he comes in the GOAT category for me. Again, that argument comes that he played his later years, but still, he was such an important player in his later days as well for Barcelona, and he won the World Cup at the time. So how can I count him out, right? So it comes just after Modric for me. And Xavi Hernandez, unlike Iniesta, you see him in his highlights, right? You see those magical clutch moments, but Xavi's that kind of player you don't see much on the field, but the impact that he has, the way he controls the entire midfield, the whole midfield works with Xavi being in front of it, being Xavi there. He's the king of short passing. He is the king of short passing and link up, bro. He is the king of that. Yes, he doesn't have his stats, he doesn't have his numbers, he doesn't have those moments, but his impact on the pitch is impeccable. No one can even doubt that. And for me personally, Xavi is, for me, like most people have Xavi as the greatest midfielder of all time. Like that won't be a stretch at all, and they would probably be right as well. But it's my personal choice to have him after Modric and Iniesta because these are kind of midfielders that move me, and that's entirely my choice. And Xavi Hernandez, of course, he comes in the number 3 for me. And at the end of the list, to top it all off, we have Yaya Toure, the big Yaya. He comes in the elite category for me, bro. He comes in the elite category directly. Yaya Toure from Barcelona to Man City. Such a incredible player, man. Such an incredible player. Literally, in that I guess 2014 season, he had the most goals in the Premier League, bro. He could do anything. He could literally do anything on the pitch in his prime, bro. In his prime, he could do anything on the pitch. Physicality, check. Long passing, check. Tackling and defensive duty, check. Knack for goals, check. Free kicks, check. Set pieces, check. Oh my god. Yaya Toure in his prime. The short years of his prime that we saw. Oh my god, what an incredible player. You could put other players under him, you could put them above him, right? But I don't care. Yes, you can put good arguments for other players here as well, but I don't care, man. Yeah, today has to be for me at least, in elite spot. He has to be there. So that's it, guys. This is the final list of here, and just a heads up again. See, most of these picks are very level-headed picks, but in some places my bias is also creeped up. My the way I watch it, the eyes are also creeped up, and like any other day I would have switched places. Okay, but for now I think this is perfect. I'll just switch a couple of players here, just so that becomes fair. Okay, so this is my complete list, and you can see here, you can see the list. You can even make your own. I'll just put the link in the tier. And it's been a long video, guys, and if someone's still watching through this right now, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for the watch time. So guys, like, share and subscribe and follow for more these kind of videos. I love speaking about it. I can't stop yapping about football, and this is a very long video. It's very taxing, so I would appreciate a like, and I would appreciate anyone of you who has watched it till now. So I'll be coming out with more of this content. If you like me to do for more of this tier list, like, you can comment down below and comment down your thoughts on some players. And yeah, guys, that's it. Thank you. See you again in next video. Peace.